Welcome to the Yoga for Empaths podcast. My name is Tara Kaur, and we're going to be diving into many different topics related to holistic health, the yoga lifestyle, energy healing, and so much more. So I invite you to bring your favorite cup of herbal tea, your journal, and create some space to relax. Let's begin. Blessings, beautiful souls, to another episode. And today I'm going to be starting something a little bit different. We are going to be sharing a lot more in regards to journal inspiration. And this is something that I feel really passionate about because there's so many ways that you can use your journal and really create a practice where you can build more awareness about yourself, your energy, and really make some changes, some realistic changes in our lives just by being very aware every day and writing things down and making those observations that we need in order to make those actions that we need. So definitely journaling is one of those things that I always recommend to my clients to use. And in several episodes, I'm going to just be doing short bursts of inspiration where you can use this for your journaling, especially around different topics related to being an empath, a highly sensitive person, and how to manage your energy on a daily basis. And today's episode, I'm going to be talking about intuition. So building a journal practice or spiritual practice, including journaling, around the topic of building your intuition. And I think this is extremely important because if you are someone who classifies yourself as a sensitive soul, our intuition is actually one of the most powerful things that we have to use. It's one of the tools that I always say you can return back to because, everyone has intuition, but when you are highly sensitive, you do pick up a lot of the subtle energies that are going on around. And sometimes it's like you're seeing between the lines a lot more clearer. And it's one of the things that I think we naturally have as empaths and highly sensitive souls. We can use our intuition to really ground our energy into the physical world around us. So as a practice, I invite you in your journal, and I recommend doing it for at least 7 days. You can obviously do it a lot longer, to start focusing on the topic of intuition. And one of the first journal entries that I always recommend is to explore what intuition means or feels to you, because everyone is different. Everyone has a different reaction in the way that they sense intuition. Some people feel it physically, some people feel it very emotionally, some people feel it quite mentally, and some people see it through images, maybe through their dreams, for example. It doesn't have to be at the moment when you're awake. So everyone is so different when it comes to connecting to intuition. So as a first practice, I highly recommend starting to question yourself and to dig deep. And you can use meditation for this, especially with your third eye, to ask yourself questions about what intuition means to you, starting from any memories that may have been present in your life where you either listened to your intuition or didn't listen, and what happened afterwards, and also how your body felt. I think it's very important to anchor it into the body and start to think about how your body felt during those times where intuition was quite strong. Me personally, I get a really big feeling in my body in terms of my stomach area, and this is like the second chakra and the third chakra kind of mixed together, where I get either an uptight feeling if it's something that I feel is intuitively not good for me, or I get some kind of a relief feeling, like a very light, happy, emotional feeling. And emotions is energy in motion. So I know this is something that I always work on. And another thing that I think really helps for me, and I'm sharing this with you because maybe you can relate to this, is knowing the difference between whether it's my ego or my mind, my monkey chatter telling me something, or whether it's my true intuition. True intuition for me feels like a very strong, solid voice that doesn't repeat itself. It's just present. It's almost like a foundation in the background that I can feel and hear in my mind. Whereas if it's something related to my ego or my fears or my doubts or again my monkey mind chatter going on, it tends to be in cycles. It doesn't tend to be quite firm. It just tends to be this series of cycles followed by a series of question marks and should I not, and then I know this is my mind and my logical space trying to figure out what's going on. So for each person, again, it's different. How would you differentiate? How would you, I always get tongue-tied with that word. How would you differentiate your intuition with your ego? And is it coming from a place of love, or is it coming from a place of fear? And that gives you almost an instant idea of what the emotions and the energy is connected to when you feel it out of love or when you feel it out of fear. So that's journal entry, I would say, that you could explore as your first entry into exploring intuition in your own life. So how does the intuition feel for you? The second entry I would use for my journal is exploring deeper and having conversations with my intuition. Starting from in the morning, I would ask my intuition to be open. So I would use an affirmation to remind myself to keep my intuition open to whatever comes and just allowing it to happen. And throughout the day, I would ask my intuition questions about the most simplest things. It doesn't have to be life-changing things. It could be as simple as, should I drink this tea or this tea in the morning? Or which way should I go down right now? Should I go down this pathway or that pathway? You know, simple little things that you can ask yourself during the day where you're allowing your intuition to speak out by asking questions. And sometimes you get answers and sometimes you don't, but you start to have an internal conversation in a healthy way with your intuition. And this is something that I love to do because it really starts building up a picture of, especially when I'm going through transitions and changes, or I'm wanting to make changes, it starts building up a picture about what feels good. And I start getting more familiar about what feels good and what doesn't feel good. So start doing this as a practice for your second part of your intuitive journal writing, asking yourself questions, meditating, and throughout the day just having conversations with your internal intuition and seeing what comes up, giving it a voice, holding space for your intuitive self to be more open and to be much more louder in your daily life, daily routines, the things that you do on a normal day, allowing it to speak as part of your routines. I think that's extremely beautiful and extremely helpful. And the last journal entry that I would recommend to do with intuition is to work with connection. Work with connection not just with people, but with spaces. So going into new spaces, and this will require you to get out of your comfort zone and start exploring different areas or places. So think about places that you wanted to explore. Maybe it's a new cafe or a new restaurant in town, or maybe it's a new class that you want to enroll in that you maybe felt was out of your comfort zone. So getting out of your normal routines, trying out new things, and then again connecting to your intuitive self and seeing what comes up and seeing the difference within yourself about whether you're feeling something intuitively or whether it's your mind chatter that's speaking back to you. And making this a journal exercise where you write down your experiences. So, for example, I went to a new cafe today when I entered the door. my intuition was telling me this. It was telling me to, I don't know, random example, it was telling me to sit in this part of the cafe. It was telling me to intuitively choose something on the menu that I'd never tried before, but it just felt right. Maybe sensing the people in the room, you know. What is my my intuition feeling right now? Well, I feel like this is actually quite a nice space. It feels very nurturing. Or on the other side, maybe it's too busy, too hectic. I don't feel really at home here. And I feel like it doesn't hold my space well, or the energy connection isn't feeling good. Whatever the case may be, as I said, these are just random examples that I'm bringing out of the top of my head, because this wasn't a planned episode. Again, today I was using my intuition to make this podcast. So whatever it is for you, going out into those new spaces, and again, journaling your experience, writing it down. Writing down your experience, writing down what your intuition told you, how your intuition felt, what happened after you followed your intuition, and maybe any fears and doubts that came up. So there you go, 3 exercises to do with your intuition that you can do on a physical level in your daily life, and then use it as part of your journal exercises. And I highly recommend always to do it for a couple of days, so you're not rushing through the process. You're allowing it to, or allowing yourself to get much more familiar with this process. And in time, when you start doing these simple exercises, it becomes like second nature. It becomes like something that you normally do, and you normally feel that you can write about or explore, or maybe even push yourself out of your boundaries even more in your comfort zone and explore even more in life. So I hope this inspired you, and I will be back with another episode with some more journal inspiration. Please check out the description box, and there will be more information there about some things maybe I haven't mentioned, or reminding you of the journal exercises that I'm talking about today. So have a beautiful day, have fun exploring, enjoy yourself. Sat Nam.